I think that's the problem, is a lot of us, we don't say positive things about ourselves, even though they're accurate, right? It's like, if you're a really good parent, you should give yourself credit for that. If you're a really good business person, a really good speaker, a really charitable person, you should give yourself credit for that. If you're not giving yourself credit for your wins, it's very hard to create constructive opportunities from your potential losses. So I think that was a very important thing for me, is if I can say to myself, I'm a really good podcaster, I can also say to myself, interesting, I didn't do a great job that episode, I have to get better. I think admitting that, having that admittance factor was very important for me too, even though it might sound counterintuitive.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Thank you very much. I'm learning a lot from this, because I have a long way to go.
Always, my friend, always. We always do.
I was saying a lot of us are going through this, and this discussion will help a lot of us very much.
I love that. That's the goal. That's the goal, my friend.
Because identifying and pursuing your passion it's not an easy thing.
No, definitely not.
It's not an easy thing. So first, you have to develop an interest and then build on that interest, because you do not know if it's going to work out and you do not know if it's going to fail, right?
Definitely. I mean, the truth of the matter is you're going to fail many, many, many times on the journey towards success. The most successful people in the world are also the people who have failed the most behind the scenes. We just don't see those things. And to your point, you probably don't know exactly what you want to do yet. And that's why it's important to try a bunch of stuff. And when you try stuff, you'll say, oh, you know what? I really enjoyed that. I didn't really enjoy that. When you are able to tap into, okay, I enjoyed that. Why? What about it did you enjoy? Not just the fact that it was fun or it paid a lot of money. Ask yourself why. Why did I enjoy that? Well, because I was able to have a deep conversation. Okay, why did I enjoy that? Well, because I learned about myself. Okay, why did I enjoy that? And if you keep digging, it'll help you get to the root of why you actually enjoy something, right? And that's the purpose and the passion and the drive underneath it.
Exactly. I agree to what you said. So how did you discover your passion and interest? How did you discover it?
I feel like I got lucky. I say that often. I was interviewed on a YouTube channel, and it was all about fitness and mindset. And after that, I remember saying to one of my friends, I said, imagine if you could do that for a living. And he said, well, you can. I mean, there's a way to do that. That was when the initial podcast bug was planted in my mind. Now, here's the interesting thing. After I have that awareness, I'm able to look back and say, okay, I used to, when I was driving a truck, I used to talk about to myself how cool it would be if you only worked like 4 hours a day and you talked on the radio, right? I listened to a lot of talk radio when I would drive the truck. I said, imagine that. That would be a really cool job. Okay, interesting. I also used to do videos on Facebook where I was just talking about motivation, inspiration, mindset, stuff like that. That was long before the podcast. So what actually brought it to me was being interviewed on the show. But then when you look back, you're able to see that there's a lot of hints. You know, the hint of saying, wow, it'd be really cool to be on the radio. Interesting. Wow, it would be really cool if I could talk on Facebook and help people. Interesting. And then if you look even further back, I remember I was coaching people in my Snapchat DMs long before I ever considered myself a coach. I just wanted to help people. So the seed was planted years and years and years before it ever became a podcast. But being interviewed on somebody else's YouTube show is when I really, really found that I was passionate about talking to people about self-improvement and about mindset and about getting better. That was really the very, very beginning for me. But then I was able to connect the dots of, okay, there's been a bunch of other hints in my past that this is something I wanted to do.
Wow. Meaning we shouldn't shy away from some obligations. You need to volunteer, right?
Yeah. Well, you gotta try stuff. You never know. There's always lessons in experience. You might go do something and say, I didn't enjoy any of that. I didn't like any of it. You might go and try something and find out, oh, you know what? I didn't like this part of it, but I did enjoy this. Okay, well, what does that mean? And then eventually, a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, you can look back and then you can kind of connect the dots of, oh, I've always liked speaking, or I've always liked art, or I've always wanted to work for myself, whatever it is. And then just that level of clarity is just super important.
And when you started doing this, you didn't have the thought of suicide anymore?
No. When I left my job, so I started the podcast in 2017. I left my job in 2018. When I left my job, my mental health got a lot better. Now, I was under a lot of pressure when I left, and I was working a lot, and I started to get anxiety, which I never really understood before. I never really had. But in terms of depression and that level of that side of mental health, things got a lot better for me because I felt like I was doing my own thing. There was a weird level of pressure relieved when I left my job, even though it was replaced with a new one. But I became my own boss, which was really cool. And I felt like I could do what I love doing. So I definitely got more anxiety when I left my old job, but my mental health in terms of depression has been drastically different.
Wow. So what advice would you give to other persons going through the thought of suicide?
It's hard. The first thing I always say is find somebody safe, somebody that you feel safe talking to, because it's very hard to go at it alone. And somebody can give you a perspective that you may not be able to see currently. You got to find hope, because when we lose hope, I think we lose reason, and we lose opportunity, and we lose motivation. And find a way to look into the future and see if you can find some hope, because that's really what we're all after. We hope our relationship will improve if we pour into it. We hope we'll make more money if we work really hard. We hope going to the gym will help us get in shape. A lot of us we're looking toward the future, into the future for hope. So we have to figure out where you can locate some hope. But I always go to, you got to talk to somebody, because somebody might be able to give you a unique perspective that you can't give yourself yet. When I was having those thoughts, when I was having those feelings, I reached out to a friend who is now my business partner, and he gave me a very unique perspective that day that helped me a ton. But that all came from a place of me feeling like I could reach out to him, and I felt safe, and I didn't feel like he would judge me, and I felt like he would give me good advice. So yeah, I think reaching out to somebody, getting support, getting help, therapist, counselor, whatever it is, I think that's always a good first step.
Realize that some people would argue and tell you 90% of their depression is because they don't have money. And now you are saying you had money, but you were depressed. How is this possible?
It's interesting. Money, there's a lot of people that say money can't buy happiness. I don't know if money can buy happiness, but money can buy opportunity. But it really depends on why you want the money in the first place. So think of, okay, if you're a very confident person who has worked on themselves a lot, and you don't have a history of depression or anxiety or any of that, and all you need more money so you can pay your bills, yeah, maybe money will solve some of those problems, right? Money can solve circumstantial money problems, but more often than not, it's not going to solve internal traumas and triggers. So it really depends. If right now, does more money make me happier? In a way, yes, because it creates more opportunity. But I also do not expect it to make me feel more fulfilled. I don't expect it to help me understand myself at a deeper level. I don't think it's going to make my insecurities go away. I think it really depends on what is the purpose that you're trying to solve by getting more money. But I mean, to your point, if you're struggling to make ends meet financially, money will bring you more happiness, definitely, because it's going to create less stress and more certainty. But if you're somebody who already has enough money to exist, and you think, oh, if I make $1 million more, I'll be way more confident. I won't have any depression. I won't look back on my past negatively. I won't be insecure. I think that's probably not the results you're going to get long term.
Okay, I agree with you.